I'm Jenny Odell, and I'm a digital artist and an archivist at the Bureau of Suspended Objects.
I'm Chris Sollers. I'm a sculptor and video performance artist.
My name is Roger Orthiog, and I am a visual artist.
I started out as an English major in college, but I think I was attracted to artists who are organizing information because that's very similar to writing and research. So it's probably end of college that I decided to go in that direction.
My aunt is an artist, and it wasn't until about high school where I started to understand more like how my brain worked or how I thought. I went to New Mexico and decided I would go to art school, and I applied to art schools, and I got a real heart-to-heart conversation with my aunt and uncle about what it was to be an artist, that you might have to work really hard, that you might never get recognition for what you do, but within those constraints, it gives you such pleasure to do and make things. When I got to college, I thought I was always going to be like a drawer. And as soon as I started taking classes where I could make things three-dimensionally, my mind really excelled and really enjoyed making things in the round. And I think that's when I made the decision that I wanted to be an artist and really understand what art is.
My dad's a sign painter, first off, and my grandma was a pretty good watercolor artist, and they both brought me up drawing from an early age, and I sort of turned the corner in 7th or 8th grade and just decided that's all I wanted to do with myself.
Definitely all of the art that I make requires a lot of work and time, and I think people can see that when they look at it, whether that is because it has a lot of writing or because it just visually you can tell by looking at it. It's implied that I spent many hours, like cutting something out or looking for something. I don't make projects that are just kind of like one-off things. Everything I do is very labor intensive, and I think that's important to note because I think a lot of people think art is easy, and it's not.
There was a moment in my own process where I came to an understanding of what it meant to make something good. You didn't just look at it, you felt it and thought about it, and there was like these underpinnings of something where there's like a thought behind whatever I'm making, but the form that those thoughts take, it becomes something that's very understandable in a viewer.
Taking my affection for drawing and sort of my obsessive sketchbook habit, I would say, and pushing it into a bigger and crazier and more installation-like realm.
The ability to look at problems from different perspectives and in different ways. One of the things I think that happens, especially as you get older, is that you start to take certain things for granted, and there are certain ways of understanding things that become very habitual. You might start to forget to look at the other angles of things, and I think a lot of times what really great art does, and a lot of my favorite art does, is it takes something that's very familiar or that you thought was familiar and it makes you look at it from a different perspective.
It can be provocative and really make you have to deal with something because it puts you in a difficult circumstance as a viewer. It might confront you in certain ways. It might reveal understandings and hidden mysteries about stuff. It works on multi-senses. You understand it through looking, you understand it through listening, your own body in relationship to it, and how the space unfolds can really affect you in very physical and psychological ways too.
It's sort of a way to make a commentary about anything from the most mundane experience to the biggest political things that could be going on. Every artist has their own voice. It's like an abstract way of expressing the way one feels about the world, and it has a lot of potential to change minds and change experiences.
You have to work really hard to kind of establish yourself in certain ways, but an artist isn't just going into a gallery. or museum and showing work. I think art can exist more in everyday life and out in the world. And as soon as you start thinking what those possibilities of where a work of art could be, it starts opening up the possibilities.
Just keep making whatever it is that you find compelling. Always do that. Like, that should just always be the base level of what you're doing. One really needs to respect the artistic impulse that you either are born with or that you like come to acquire as just like something that's always there, that you're just always making things, like even if they're really small and they're just kind of practice, just to keep that alive. And then later, if you do, if it does become part of like a discipline, or you do go to school for art, that you make sure that that original impulse doesn't get overtaken by like competitiveness or the ideas of like performance and evaluation. Like that those should be separate from the thing that is actually originally creating this impulse for you to make art.
To think about not what people expect to see, but something that your mind creates that is absurd and strange. And those things open up the world in totally new juxtapositions. So I'd definitely say get weird.
Work your tail end off and get exposed to as much as possible. Not just art, but get exposed to life. Think about who you are on the inside and what you bring that's special. And then figure out a way to express it.